Hi guys. So, following up on my previous video on sex in marriage and outside marriage, I want to take it a step further. Yes, I may still get as graphic as as I was on the last one, but whatever the case may be, these are things that the Bible talks about, and these are things that we must take cognizance of if we are going to make the most that we should, as God has intended for us out of marriage and sex. The Bible talks about in First Corinthians chapter 7, says, "Let the husband render due benevolence to his wife, and the wife render due benevolence to her husband." The critical word I want to bring out from that passage is, said, "Defraud ye not one another." Basically, if you are married, for whatever reason you choose to abstain from sex from your husband or from your wife, the Bible calls it fraud. That is fraud. When you get married, you are making a promise, both verbally and in your actions. Okay, you are making a vow, you are making a commitment that you belong to this person and this person belongs to you. The Bible says the husband does not own his body, the wife owns it. The wife does not own her body, the husband owns it. Do you understand? So basically, you do not have the right to tell your husband that you don't want sex. Neither does your husband have the right to tell you that you can't have sex. It's wrong. Between the two of you, you absolutely have to make a way to make it work. Create a way to make it work. But here's the interesting thing. Now, the fact that you're not allowed to say no, or the fact that your wife is not allowed to say no to you, does not give you license to force her. Okay? God does not force us. We are Jesus' bride. And the Bible tells us that the Spirit, you know, stays at the door and knocks. He's asking to be allowed to come in. But many of us don't understand that fellowship is akin to sex. God's fellowship with us, so you shall be in me and I in you, is the same as husband and wife fellowship, which is the sex. That's how it is. That's how it is actualized, in the marriage context. And we understand that fellowship is every day. Fellowship is all the time. If you can have it continuously, by all means, have it continuously. Of course, physically, we realize that we cannot do it. And here's the weird thing I find about, people who abstain from sex. He wants sex too much. There are people who have problems. There are people who have proclivities, who are specially gifted for it. I can't talk about that. I don't know about that, but there are. And there are those who have a low libido, who don't want sex as much. But even scientifically, we find out that people who have, anything, talk to any doctor. I challenge it. Any doctor who knows better should correct me in the comment section. I have heard that anything less than 3 times a week is too little. Now, I understand that there may be circumstances like maybe somebody travels or somebody is ill or you get very busy and you're not able to. I understand that. But it helps if you make conscious effort to try and do it, be intimate with your spouse at least 3 times a week, at least three. But if the anointing falls upon you and you want to be able to do it 5 times a day, well, knock it out of the ballpark. Why not? Okay? It's fellowship. And like we have fellowship with God, it should be constant and continuous all the time. Okay? So, as a husband, you don't own your body. Even if you have something on your mind, when madam comes to you, make the effort. Now, I understand that sometimes when there are issues on your mind, you really cannot get it up. I understand that. Then, she owns your body. Tell her why. Tell her why. Madam, honey, this thing is bothering me. Listen, give her a chance to be your wife. Give her a chance to be your companion. The Bible says when one falls down, the other will pick him up. You know, if you give them a chance to comfort you, madam, listen, in my short lifespan, so to speak, I have found that I have had to counsel women more in over this issue. You know, for some reason, we know women are very emotional in general terms, and once they are worried or angry or upset about anything, one of the first places you can find out is on the bed. She's either not going to want to have sex, or if she does, she's either deliberately or unconsciously or subconsciously, she's going to make it a miserable experience. And even if she says nothing, she just lays there and lets the man do what he wants to do, and then she just rolls away and stays by herself. A lot of women do it. I have, spoken with a lot of women who are along these lines. Madam, he owns your body. You do not have the right to deny him. But if something comes up that is on your mind that makes you feel like, okay, I can't do it right now, why don't you talk to him about it? Now, by the time you talk to him tonight and say, I can't do it tonight, and then tomorrow you say you can't do it tomorrow, and the day after by the time it keeps going on or it happens too frequently, there is nobody that is a fool. Of course, he is your husband. He has had sex with you before. He knows that something is wrong. But why do you have to wait until he figures it out? Why can't you tell him already? Honey, this thing you said earlier today, that thing you did yesterday, this thing happened to me out there at work. Oh, I wanted you to do this to me. I wanted you to do this for me. Talk about it. Any issue that you do not talk about is poison that is going to kill your marriage. But you see, the Bible says when Adam and Eve were created, it said they were both naked and they were not ashamed. Okay? Whatever you hide, whatever you conceal from your partner is poison that is eating away at you and her or him. So whatever the case may be, talk, share. And yes, when you finish having sex, or even before, or while you're at it, talk. Listen, here's something else, something very interesting that I was in a discussion that happened a while back. I was in a discussion in a group, and a lot of ladies were talking about candlelight dinner, roses and petals, and and what's it called, and scented baths and all that. And it's nice. There's nothing wrong with it. But I asked a question, very interesting question. I was like, exactly how many roses, how many petals, how many candlelight dinners does it take to excite a man? I know that there are exceptions to the rule, but the truth is, there aren't many men that need more than a willing woman. All a man needs is that the woman be willing to be with him. Take off your clothes and he is ready to go. So you understand that a man who goes for all the candlelight dinner, all the scented baths, all the shenanigans that come with arousing you for sex is doing it for you and not for himself. And it is good too. Listen, hello, sir. You want to have sex with your wife. Whatever it takes, it's not for you. It's called love making. Make it. Okay? The Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave. You see, when you love, you give. So when you are making love, you are giving yourself. So it's not just about taking and getting satisfied. Give yourself to satisfy your spouse. That goes for the men, that goes for the women. Give yourself to satisfy your spouse. Whatever they want, try it. If you try and it doesn't work, talk about it. If you decide it's not going to be, leave it alone. But whatever the case, try. Don't keep from each other. It is fraud. The Bible speaks clearly against it. Now, I hope we get this. Again, I insist, if you have questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Click on notification, click on subscribe. Make sure you share this video. As many people as need to see it. The world around you is dying. Homes are breaking, and a big part of why they are breaking is because people don't understand sex. Oh yes, definitely I have to make another video about preaching this subject on the pulpit. I also need to make another video about when and how we should teach our teenagers, our children about sex. It is critical. It is critical. A lot of these children are having sex already. At the back of their minds, they know, the sense is there that something is wrong with this. But they are still doing it anyway because nature, instinct within them is calling for it. A man produces millions of sperm daily. 2-3 days of it, something's got to give. Many of us, when we were teenagers, okay, we wake up with aroused. And yes, we see wetness in our pants. For men, unless we don't want to talk about it. And for girls, I really don't know how it works. But I know that a girl who is menstruating has ovulated about 2 weeks ago. And this is one of the things, ask any doctor, this is one of the things that happen when you're ovulating. Your body is calling for sex. You will begin to act funny around men. Now, we teach each other to shut it down. But is that the right thing to do? Ooh, these are questions. Again, I will have to make another video on this subject. I don't want this one to be too long. Whatever the issues may be, please, leave them in the comments. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.